Hi there and welcome to Munich in Germany for another on-the-road edition of Europe's most travelled rock show. Now tonight we're going to be showing you two very different sides of the band Dream Theater. First of all, we're going to be joining them at Ronnie Scott's club in London for a one-off concert of cover versions where the band are going to be joined by loads of special guests. Quite a few surprises there. And then a little bit later on in tonight's show, we're going to be heading over to Munich in Germany. From the 1992 album Images and Words, that was Dream Theater with Take the Time. And before we meet the guys on this special Dream Theater edition of Headbangers Ball, let me just explain to you what's going on. A little bit later on in the show, we're going to be joining the band in Munich on their European tour. But first up tonight, we've come to the somewhat unlikely setting of Ronnie Scott's, which is famous for its jazz nights and acoustic sets. And Dream Theater are going to be doing something a little bit special down here tonight. We're going to find out more about that in just a moment, but first of all, let me say welcome to Mike and John from Dream Theater.
Hello,
and welcome to Headbangers Ball, welcome back to Europe. And I think we're actually quite lucky to have you back here, judging by the fact that you've just been in Japan and you actually were there when the earthquake happened, right?
This is let's get ready to rumble!
Literally.
It was terrifying, incredibly scary. We ran down 27 flights of stairs as fast as we could, and it was horrifying. We're just thankful to be alive.
Good. Well, we're glad to have you in one piece back in London, and obviously you're looking forward to the European tour. Quite an extensive set of dates coming up, right?
Yeah, absolutely. In fact, we're really psyched because we've been hearing that the ticket sales have been really good, and the record's been selling amazing. You know, it's more than twice as much as the last one in almost every market, so we're really excited.
Good. Well, obviously we're talking about the new album Awake, and the whole purpose of this edition of Headbangers Ball is to get the nitty-gritty on that for you. But before we talk about the new record, we really want to concentrate on what's happening here at Ronnie Scott's tonight. And this is something a little bit special for you guys. Could you explain what you're going to be doing?
I could talk about it. I don't know if I can explain it. This is just a one-off crazy idea we had to get together in a small club and do cover songs, pay tribute to all the bands we grew up listening to and some ones from today. And as soon as the idea came up, suddenly, you know, the phones started ringing, and we're having some special guests down, and Steve Howe from Yes is going to come down and play with us, and Barney from NAPALM DEATH, so two extremes right there. And the guys from MARILLION just popped in, so we put together something at Soundcheck, and hopefully we learned everything, you know. But it's going to be a very, you know, lighthearted jam sort of thing, just doing some covers and having some fun.
Good. Lots of fun. Good. Well, we're going to see a little bit of live performance from this kind of cover version concert a little bit later on, but actually we're going into the first video from the Awake album, which you've seen on Headbangers Ball a fair bit already. And I think, guys, this is quite a different video compared to the videos we saw of Images and Words, which were quite stylized and in some ways surreal. This one is a lot harder hitting. Do you think that this is kind of like a statement of intent about the album and the overall feel and vibe of the new record?
I think it was because John had a beard in the video. That's what did it.
My beard just, as soon as the director saw the beard, he said, fast, flashy scenes. That's it.
Faster, yeah, fast. Had to do it.
This the particular song definitely was one of the heaviest songs we ever wrote, and it's like 7-string guitar. It's really low and beefy, and we wanted to try to get that across as opposed to having like a real polished, you know, thing in a studio. We decided to take to the streets of Manhattan and make this kind of streety, you know, heavy-looking video. A lot of garbage in the scenes and stuff.
Well, I think you certainly achieved that. So we're going to talk to the guys some more right after we've seen the video from the new album Awake. This is Dream Theater with that very clip shot on location in Manhattan around New York City. Here it is, live. Headbangers Ball is out on the road with Dream Theater, and we're going to be bringing you all the action from their Waking Up the World European tour throughout tonight's show. And also we're going to be going down to Munich a little bit later on to the gig there. But right now we're still at Ronnie Scott's at this one-off kind of cover versions concert, and we've got some live performance from that on the way as well. And now, guys, if we can start to talk about the new record, I think a good place to start would be to say that the last 3 years kind of have been like a roller coaster of activity for you. You got signed, you made a very successful major label debut album, you know, you've toured all over the world. How much is Awake a representation of all those experiences and feelings from the past 3 years?
Well, you can't go through all those experiences without being affected by it, you know. And I think the interesting thing for us with this album, it was the first time we ever made a record knowing that there was an audience anticipating it. You know, all the other times we had made records, it's sort of like us just playing to the walls and, you know, wondering what's going to happen. But this time around, you know, we knew that there was an audience and that people were going to be listening to it. So that was a little strange for us. And, you know, but I think we pulled through. I think it's a very heavy, a lot heavier of an album, and it's very diverse. It's got a little bit of everything. I mean, I think it's the best record by far, you know, of the 3 we've done.
Were the songs written on the road, or did you have like a cooling off period and then you got to writing?
Actually, we didn't cool off at all. We had some bits and pieces from the road, but not really a lot of complete songs. And we got together in the beginning of the year. What year are we in? 95? So beginning of 94, around January, the end of January, and we were just in a studio for about 3 months, every day, just kind of pounding out ideas, and we demoed them ourselves. And 3 months later, we had 75 minutes worth of music.
Yes, I was going to say, you certainly weren't stuck for ideas for songwriting on this album, were you? Because like you said, you've got the maximum amount of music you can have on a CD there.
Yeah, we were going to do the Dream Theater box set, but the label was against the idea, you know. And
also I think when I spoke to you before on Images and Words, you said that you just a song is however long it takes to get across your ideas, and that's definitely the case with the songs on this album. There's, like you said, there is a lot of diversity. There's some of the songs are really very long. Were you kind of, you said that you knew that you had an audience, but were you kind of like wanting to challenge the listener as well?
What do you think, John?
Absolutely.
John enjoys challenging the listener.
I do, as quoted in our bio. Yeah, definitely. I mean, when we write, it's kind of like we just throw everything in, including, like you said before, experiences from the past and new musical ideas and inspiration that we might have picked up on the road. And to us, it is really challenging putting it together, whether it be technically challenging or just on a writing level, you know. I guess it translates to the listener, and it does challenge the listener with the longer songs and, you know, eclectic arrangements and stuff.
But I mean, do you not feel that you're walking a fine line between that and being self-indulgent?
Yeah, well, I don't know.
Fine line between being artsy-fartsy.
I think even less on this album, though. I think the stuff on this album is a little bit more straight ahead without losing the integrity or whatever, you know.
Right.
I think it's a lot of the material is very easy to digest, and I think through the years we've learned, despite what some of the critics may say, I think through the years we've learned that a song is more important than blowing your load and playing chops and stuff. You know, I think we realize the importance of that, and that takes first priority when we're writing.
I don't realize that. I don't.
John didn't realize that.
Well, thank you for that, Mike. It's a very good insight there. Obviously, you know, we've talked before about the fact that Kevin Moore left the band, and obviously I don't want to go into all the reasons for that again, but are you still working with the Jordan Rudess? What's happening with the keyboards?
Actually, last time we saw you, that was Jordan's only appearance. Yeah.
So it didn't work out.
Yeah, I guess not. You know, the problem with him was he was reading off of transcriptions during the show, and we'll have none of that,
right.
You know. But no, since the tour began in October, we've had Derek Sherinian, who had played with Alice Cooper and Kiss and recorded with Brad Gillis. He's been a hired gun type, and he's been looking for a band situation, so he was real happy to get involved with us, and it's working out great. He's an amazing player. He went to Berklee College of Music, where we went, so he's got that similar background, and he's a tremendous player and a super cool guy.
Good. Okay, well, we'll be seeing him in action a little bit later on in the show. Right now, though, we have to take our first short break on Headbangers Ball, and let me tell you that after that, we're going to be in Munich with you guys on the European tour. We've got some live performances from that on the way, and we're also going to be meeting up with Dream Theater's support band Fate's Warning. But taking us into that break, we're going to show you some highlights of this concert here at Ronnie Scott's in London, where Dream Theater playing their favourite cover versions and being joined by loads of special guests. So here we go, some live performances, and we'll see you right after the break in Munich for more from Dream Theater.
Happiness is a warm gown. Happiness is a warm gown. When I hold you in my arms, and I feel my finger on your trigger, I know nobody can do me no harm, because happiness is a warm gown. Happiness is a warm gown. Yes, it is. Happiness is a warm, yes, it is. When you're gonna make up your mind, when you're gonna love you as much as I do, when you're gonna make up your mind, 'cause things are gonna change so fast. All the white horses are still in bed. I tell you that I'll always want you near. You say that things change, my dear.
Deadline debuting on Headbangers Ball tonight as part of our Dream Theater Tour special. And we're actually now in Munich. Just before the break there, you saw highlights of the Ronnie Scott's concert, where Dream Theater played some of their favourite cover versions with lots of special guests. And now we're over in Munich, joining the band on the European tour. And as you can see, I've got Mike back with me.